Ancient Egypt, Heka, the force that powers creation. Heka was the raw spiritual energy that flowed through every corner of existence, the force the gods used to form the world, and the same force humans could channel to influence destiny. Egyptians believed that spoken words, names, symbols, and rituals weren't just expressions, they were active tools that shaped reality when infused with Heka. Priests trained for years to master this power through sacred texts, temple ceremonies, funerary rites, and the crafting of amulets designed to hold protective energy. Heka appeared in medicine, magic, religion, and daily life. Doctors recited healing spells during treatment, families placed protective charms on newborns, and pharaohs invoked Heka to maintain cosmic order, Ma'at. In the afterlife, the dead relied on Heka-filled spells from the Book of the Dead to navigate dangers and reach eternal life. To the Egyptians, magic wasn't a side practice. It was the fundamental engine of the universe, the divine technology that made creation possible and kept both gods and humans connected to the unseen world. Mesopotamia. Mesopotamian magic centered on the belief that the world was filled with unseen forces, some protective, many dangerous, and humans needed rituals to survive them. At the heart of this system were the tablets of destiny, cosmic records guarded by the god Enki, who was seen as the master of knowledge, spells, and protective magic. Priests and exorcists known as Ashipu used clay tablets inscribed with Enki's sacred formulas, invocations, and detailed instructions for driving away harmful spirits. Magic and medicine were deeply intertwined. Healers treated illness as both a physical condition and a spiritual attack, often caused by demons like Lamashtu or restless ghosts. Rituals used incense, figurines, holy water, and long incantations to trap or banish these entities. Protective statues of fierce spirits such as Pazuzu were placed in homes to guard families from disease and misfortune. For the Mesopotamians, magic wasn't about manipulating nature, it was about restoring balance in a world constantly threatened by chaos, using ancient divine knowledge to shield the living from the invisible dangers surrounding them. Ancient Greece, Greek magic lived in the space between religion, philosophy, and raw supernatural power. People believed the gods were deeply involved in daily life, and magic was a way to influence their decisions. Theurgy, the highest form of Greek magic, aimed to connect the soul with divine beings through sacred hymns, ritual purification, incense, and symbolic actions. Philosophers like Iamblichus claimed this allowed humans to momentarily rise into the realm of the gods. But everyday Greeks also practiced practical sorcery. They created lead-cursed tablets, katatasmoi to bind enemies, silence rivals, attract lovers, or sway legal battles. These tablets were buried in graves or thrown into wells, calling on restless spirits to carry out the spell. Love magic, dream interpretation, and divination through oracles were part of normal life, with priestesses like those at Delphi acting as channels for Apollo's voice. Greek magic blended logic and myth. While intellectuals debated the nature of the soul, ordinary people whispered incantations, carried protective charms, and sought omens in the flight of birds. Magic was both a spiritual ascent and a weapon of everyday survival, woven into the heart of Greek civilization. Ancient Rome. Roman magic blended everyday superstition with formal ritual, creating a world where divine power lived inside homes, temples, and even street corners. Most Romans practiced household magic, using protective amulets, carved charms, and whispered blessings to ward off illness, misfortune, and the evil eye. Priests performed state rituals to keep Rome in favor with the gods, while ordinary citizens relied on love potions, fertility spells, and healing charms to navigate daily life. But Rome also had a darker magical undercurrent. Curse tablets, deficciones, were buried in graves and wells to bind rivals, destroy enemies, or influence court cases. These tablets called on spirits and underworld gods to sabotage the target's health, reputation, or luck. Romans deeply feared witches like the striga, believed to fly at night, transform into animals, and drain life from the vulnerable. Their presence in poetry and folklore reflects the anxiety surrounding forbidden magic. Roman magic was a paradox, publicly condemned yet privately practiced, feared yet relied upon. In a world obsessed with omens, fate, and divine signs, magic became a practical tool and a hidden weapon, woven into the daily life of the empire. Ancient Persia. Persian magic was rooted in the teachings of Zoroastrianism, a worldview built on the eternal struggle between light and darkness. At the center were the Magi, priest-scholars whose very name gave birth to the word magic. They performed elaborate purification rituals using fire, water, incense, and sacred chants from the Avesta to strengthen the forces of truth, Asha, and repel the corrupting influence of demons, Devas. Fire temples served as powerful spiritual engines, where the sacred flame symbolized divine wisdom and cosmic order. The Magi practiced astrological magic, reading the stars to understand destiny and predict political or spiritual shifts. They crafted protective formulas against evil spirits, used consecrated metals and plants for healing, and recited invocations to summon divine beings like Ahura Mazda or the Amesha Spentas for protection and guidance. Ritual cleanliness of body, place, and spirit was a powerful tool, believed to weaken darkness and empower the soul. For the Persians, magic was not manipulation but alignment, an effort to bring one's life into harmony with the cosmic battle between good and evil. Mastering ritual purity, fire rites, and celestial knowledge meant standing on the side of light in the universe's oldest spiritual war. Celtic and Druidic magic. Celtic magic was rooted in the belief that nature itself was alive with spiritual power. Sacred groves, rivers, stones, and oak trees were gateways to the otherworld, a realm of gods, spirits, and ancestral forces. Druids, the intellectual and mystical elite of Celtic society, acted as priests, judges, healers, and prophets. They performed rituals in forest sanctuaries, using chanting, herbal knowledge, and seasonal ceremonies to maintain harmony between the human world and the unseen one. Prophecy was central to Druidic practice. Through trance, dream work, and observing natural signs like bird movements or the flow of water, Druids offered guidance on war, kingship, and destiny. Celtic myths also overflow with shape-shifting, reflecting a worldview where boundaries between forms were fluid. Heroes transformed into animals, goddesses appeared as birds or wolves, and enchanted cauldrons granted wisdom, healing, or resurrection. Magic in the Celtic world wasn't separate from life. It was woven into identity, warfare, storytelling, and the land itself. By honoring nature's cycles and listening to the spirits within it, the Celts believed they could access ancient wisdom, divine favor, and the hidden power that flowed through all living things. Norse Viking Magic. Norse magic was built on the belief that fate was a living web, and skilled practitioners could tug on its threads. The most feared and respected form was seiðr, a trance-based magic practiced by seeresses called völur, and rarely by men like Odin himself. Through rhythmic chanting, drum beating, and ritual staffs, the vulva entered altered states to see the future, manipulate destiny, summon spirits, or send harmful magic across great distances. Seiðr could bless a voyage, or doom an enemy's harvest. Alongside seiðr was rune magic, a system of symbolic power carved into wood, bone, or stone. Runes were not just letters but sacred signs believed to hold cosmic energy. Warriors scratched them onto weapons for victory, sailors marked them on ships for protection, and sorcerers used them in bindings, curses, or healing rituals. Saga literature is filled with accounts of rune spells gone wrong, reminders that the symbols were potent and dangerous when misused. Norse magic was woven into daily life, warfare, and the spiritual world. It honored a universe where gods, giants, spirits, and humans constantly interacted, and where those who understood the hidden arts could reach beyond the ordinary to bend luck, fate, and the unseen forces of the nine worlds. Ancient China. Ancient Chinese magic was rooted in the Taoist belief that the universe flowed with an invisible life force called qi, and those who understood its rhythms could transform both body and reality. Taoist alchemists practiced internal alchemy, refining breath, meditation, and energy pathways to achieve longevity, spiritual clarity, or even immortality. External alchemy involved crafting elixirs from minerals and herbs, each designed to harmonize the body with cosmic forces. Chinese magicians and priests also used talismans inscribed with sacred symbols to summon protection, repel demons, or attract good fortune. Spirit mediums acted as bridges to ancestors and celestial beings, entering trance to deliver messages or heal the afflicted. Ritual masters invoked powerful gods and immortals through chanting, incense, drums, and carefully choreographed movements that aligned the practitioner with heaven's order. Divination played a major role, from the Yi Jing, which revealed the hidden patterns of fate, to astrology, which guided emperors and generals. Magic in ancient China wasn't rebellion against nature. It was about flowing with the Tao, tapping into the subtle forces that shaped health, destiny, and the harmony of the cosmos. Ancient India. Vedic magic grew from the belief that the universe was sustained by cosmic order. Rita and rituals performed correctly could influence everything from weather and health to destiny and divine favor. At the heart of this system were mantras, sacred sound formulas believed to vibrate with the energy of creation itself. Reciting them with precision wasn't just prayer, it was a way of activating invisible forces that shaped the world. Priests called Brahmins performed fire rituals, yajnas, offering ghee, grains, and incense into blazing altars to communicate with gods like Agni, Indra, and Varuna. The Vedas also described siddhis, supernatural abilities gained through deep meditation and ascetic discipline, feats like telepathy, levitation, heightened perception, or extraordinary strength. Early Indian magic combined astronomy, medicine, and spirituality. Healers used herbs alongside chants, while astrologers mapped planetary movements to understand karma and future events. Divination, protective charms, and ritual purification were part of everyday life. To the Vedic world, magic was simply the science of sacred order, aligning one's actions, breath, and words with the cosmic rhythm that governed both the gods and humanity, unlocking hidden potential in the process. Mayan civilization. Mayan magic was built on the belief that the universe was a living, breathing structure shaped by gods who demanded balance and reciprocity. Bloodletting rituals were central, not as cruelty, but as a sacred offering. By drawing their own blood, rulers and priests opened a spiritual doorway, summoning visions, ancestral spirits or deities who guided the fate of cities and kings. These visions were heightened with incense, rhythmic chanting, and sacred objects carved with divine symbols. The Maya were master astronomers, and much of their magic was astral ritual, ceremonies timed to the movements of Venus, the moon, and constellations. They believed celestial cycles influenced war, agriculture, prophecy, and the spiritual health of the kingdom. Shamans acted as intermediaries between worlds, entering trance states to diagnose illness, negotiate with spirits, or retrieve lost souls from other realms. Divination with crystals, maize kernels, and sacred calendars helped determine auspicious days for travel, marriage, or battle. In Maya culture, magic was woven into kingship itself. A ruler who could not access the other world was unfit to lead. Their entire civilization moved in rhythm with the cosmic heartbeat, guided by blood, stars, and the voices of the unseen.